what I would love to hear from you is a little bit around how did you end up here? I heard you retired, didn't know you're in the game, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about your career, your journey, and then how you ended up at Augment.
Yeah, let me go back in time first. So I actually completed a PhD in machine learning a very long time ago, a different era of AI. It was the era of symbolic reasoning. But believe it or not, I had Jeff Hinton as one of my AI professors, and I followed his career. And he took a lot of grief back then because the symbolic reasoning camp didn't think neural networks were ever going to amount to anything. Wind the clock forward, and I was incredibly excited to see large language models emerge and their capabilities. And now, in between, of course, I spent 20 odd years doing 4 system software startups, the most recent being Pure Storage. Every one of them depended on really large, complex code bases and had a brilliant team of engineers to try to bring those code bases forward and evolve them. And it was so painful, that process of trying to deliver a fast, performant, reliable, secure software base and being able to move it forward efficiently. And so it was these two threads of my career: the pain of software engineering, and then appreciation for machine learning. That I had this fear of missing out, that these two streams are going to come together, and I very much wanted to be part of it. And I wanted to help software engineers because I'd spent so much of my career feeling their pain.
That's great. That's awesome. So you've lived it, so now you can actually try to fix it, which is very cool. Um, on this podcast, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to pick winners, Scott, and we think that Augment is a winner. So the structure that we have is I'm kind of the sales guy, and Chris is the technical SC that actually knows the smart stuff. So what we'd like to get into a little bit more is really what we would discuss in a sales pitch. So maybe we start off at Augment. Tell us a little bit about the company, how you guys started, what do you guys do?
Yeah, so we had a small team. There are 2 co-founders that I work very closely with. Guy Garari, who is a lead researcher at Google, did a bunch of the work that became the Gemini large language models. And then his co-founder, Igor Ostrovsky, was the chief architect of FlashBlade at Pure Storage. And he had spent a year plus reinventing himself around AI technology. We had, some significant system software expertise, and so, this was before ChatGPT, but we were seeing the potential of large language models to help manage code. There's so much detail in tens of millions of line mono repos. There's just no simple changes in a code base of that scale, and it's very hard for humans to keep everything in their head while they're working through a complex change, right? You update one file, and then you're jumping around the code base, and then somebody interrupts you, and you're like, "Oh, where was I?" There's a lot of tedium and painful drudgery associated in that task, and we thought large language models could help. So we got started, and then ChatGPT launched, and along came GitHub Copilot. And I would say the big development was all the vibe coding space, especially as the models got better. But we started at the opposite end of the spectrum. We set out to help software engineers. So these are individuals that are looking after really large, complex code bases. Maybe for networking or storage or security or database or large SaaS applications. So we wanted to be able to tackle the big, hard problems, and so that was, what we set out to go solve was AI for software engineering.
You mentioned a term there. I just want to make sure everybody understands vibe coding, because that's kind of a big deal, right?
The term was coined by Andre Karpathy, who's just a brilliant leading mind in AI. But it comes out of people that say aren't software experts at all, but have an idea that they would like to make a simple little application out of. Maybe it's a weekend project. It's often also called 0 to 1, right? So I don't have any code. I have an idea. I talk. I have a dialogue with the AI, and out of it comes a simple product that I can use. But it's on the scale of generally a weekend to a week, couple weeks of work to create something, and that's kind of where vibe coding stops. The other end of the spectrum is the large enterprise with tens of millions of lines of existing code that has so much built-in history and knowledge in there that you need to be able to understand before you can actually be effective at evolving that code base. And that's where Augment set our sights.